Ooh, my wife just texted me a picture too.
Okay! Hello, everyone. We are
What?
live for another episode for the fans. I didn't know where this conversation was going before, and I have no idea if anyone heard it, but we are live now.
That was an awkward laugh.
Oh, yeah, I'll say.
That's all.
I
That
didn't
was
know where the
awkward.
conversation was going.
And it was on
Find
record,
out.
so it's all good.
All right, Shane, whatever you say.
Yeah.
Oh
My
my
wife texted
You
me
really
we're
do
for
need to
catch
stop
up for
eating
dinner.
deodorant. That's where that conversation was going. So, it's just not healthy.
What's not healthy? I'm so lost.
Eating deodorant,
Oh,
because that's what
yeah.
Shane does, So we're like trying to support him.
Wow.
This is getting real weird now.
I was gonna say,
You're just jealous because I have
I
a Black
was
Bear Diner right in front of me.
way out of left field.
True.
Hash browns, delicious.
Not supposed to say that. The people didn't know what we were talking about before we started. Could have
They can
believed
guess.
us.
Matt
Oh
actually
my
came
God.
out as
Oh,
the
man.
biggest Chiefs fan. He's just been hiding it this whole time.
Yeah.
That would be the plot twist of the century.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Oh,
Did you know I
man.
could fly too? Fly over to your house.
And eat Black Bear Diner.
Yep. Since you got too much.
Joke's on you. I think my kid's the only
It's
one
only
that knows
fair.
where I live.
Oh,
Oh, I
never
know
would've
people.
that.
Good, because I don't know anybody.
Did you never get out much?
Nope.
Ooh.
Yikes.
I know you live
Okay,
close
yeah.
enough to a Black Bear Diner. That narrows it down.
Exactly. That's
Process
what
of
I'm saying,
elimination.
Look at your recent photos, figure out the sun, where the
photos? I don't
shadows
post.
are, you know.
Oh, man, that's too
My
funny.
social media is basically podcast, so good luck.
That's true, actually. It's really funny though, because like whenever I have to go through my social media profile and stuff like that, like if I'm trying to find something to reference, I'm like, okay, I gotta go through the 5 million podcast posts that we have in order to
Right.
find it. Oh,
That's
it's
funny.
all good though. Hey, all right. So going into this week here, hey, look, there's been some interesting developments from this past week. I don't know about you guys as we go here into week 11, but there are definitely some of my fantasy teams that I have officially said RIP to. I have thrown in the towel. I'm done.
One of
It's
my
not
fantasy
going well
teams
anymore.
has more than half of the roster injured.
Yeesh.
Yeah.
It's been an interesting year as far as injuries that have happened, or players.
Yeah.
There's definitely been a lot of players that I would definitely say have regressed that
CJ
were
Stroud.
Yeah.
up.
Well,
Devon,
Yeah. Well, there's people too that are just way too up and down for fantasy. Like they
Sam
might
Darnold.
be doing good this year. It's just they're either good or they're terrible.
I'm
that
still
week.
confused on how Sam Darnold was like the best fantasy quarterback for like
Yep.
7 weeks straight.
we knew this was coming.
Yeah, and Jaden Daniels too, though. Like he got me 8 points.
Yeesh.
This week, I'll let it
like,
go.
come on, man. I'm like, what? Where'd that come from? Hopefully, this is not the
Oh.
start. Right before playoffs is not a good thing.
No kidding. That's rough. Oh my.
Oh.
Yeah, it's been an interesting time, and there's been a couple of good matchups that have happened here in this past while. I like our picks that we have as far as covering this past week and then going into this week. So I'd say let's kick it off here. Shane, we usually start with you, but we'll hold off this time. Let's get that timer ready. Let's get that timer ready. So we're going to kick it off with Matt's pick, which of course is going to be referencing the Kansas City Chiefs. It'll be the Broncos and Chiefs game, which does need to be talked about, but we have, before this episode went on, we set specific conditions with Matt that he has a timer. We can't have him talk too long about the Chiefs. So he has a timer on for this one. The moment that timer goes off, we move
It's
on.
one and only.
Which our timer is just.
Yep. Facts.
Oh, good. But let's talk about this game, Matt. Kick us off.
Let's kick this off. So one.
Don't block it though. Don't block it.
Yeah, seriously. This game, it was a good game on obviously the Broncos side because I feel like with the Kansas City Chiefs defense, they did really well. Bo Nix, I think he played amazing. And I've been riding him since the day, he was eligible for a draft. I wish the Patriots would picked him up because I feel like he is the best quarterback out of this class so far this year. 100%.
Jane Daniels?
I would say Jaden
Yes.
Daniels.
Yes. You put Bo Nix in Jane Daniels' shoes with his weapons and team, I think Bo Nix would be better than what he is in the Broncos.
I can agree with that, actually.
He's a system guy. Like, you plug him and chug. Like, I feel like once he gets comfortable, he does amazing. So, and then, on the other side of the ball, Mahomes really did not do that good. Clearly, his pass percentage is like 58, 59% or something like that for the game. So, compared to Bo Nix, he did a lot better. But, and then the last thing I'll say about it is that field goal. Everyone thought the Broncos had it in the bag. That blocking was weak. I am shocked that they got that many people through the line to block the kick.
It was their entire defense.
It was the entire right side.
Yeah,
Literally
it crumbled.
5 dudes. Like, I'm sorry, but if we were all on board with my conspiracy, this 100% is like, oh yeah, they told them to not block.
Let them through.
Make it blatantly obvious,
Tyler, I have an interesting request for you.
Yeah.
Does your wife happen to be in the nearby vicinity as we're recording?
He is.
Okay. I want to ask her a question as a Broncos fan.
As a Broncos fan.
Which L hurt more? This one or that 70-20 game against the Dolphins last season?
Hey, Shania. What hurt more? The loss to the Dolphins last year, which was 70-20, or the loss this year to the Chiefs with this block kick in the final minutes to beat the undefeated Chiefs?
I would plead the fifth.
She pleads the fifth. She pleads the fifth.
It's too funny.
It was rough. It was rough. Literally, when it happened, so I missed. So I had to catch up on it because I remember we were all chatting about it right as we were getting ready for this kick. If you remember, we were all like, "Oh look, it's happening! It's finally happening!" And then I had to turn away for a little bit, and then when I checked my messages again, and we were all freaking out, I was like, "Wait, are you serious?" And I went and looked up, the play, and I went, "You've got to be kidding me!" Oh man, it hurt me so much.
Yeah.
I'm in disbelief. I'm in anger. I'm in frustration about the fact that the Chiefs have just been somehow. Matt, I'm not fully going in and saying here that this is fully rigged, but it's starting to become a little bit too much of a coincidence to be a coincidence.
Every single game they have gotten lucky. Everyone's like, "Oh, it's killed their skill. They're that good." I'm like, our offense? No.
See, but does that argument deserve an
Yes.
argument? Does it deserve a point? Does there come a fact that if luck repeats itself enough, can you no longer call someone lucky, but talented?
Yes. No.
But it's not really luck. It's that they have not only the luck of the play, but it's the luck of the refs that bail them out.
The Isaiah Likely was just bad luck.
Yeah.
On this one, I don't know if we can blame this one on say the refs or something like that, but something weird happened. Something weird happened for sure.
Yeah. It just seems like every game they have at least a handful of things that kind of went I don't know about that. That seems a little fishy. And it's every single week.
Yeah.
So, and that's it.
So let
NC
me
for
further
me.
ask you this: does the NFL really gain that much by helping the Kansas City Chiefs to win?
Yes.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit.
Personally, I feel like
storyline.
right now they're probably one of the more hated teams in
They
the
are,
NFL.
but I mean, the Patriots were a hated team, but Patriots winning meant more money.
But do you know what
Is
would
that how that
happen
works?
if they agreed with Taylor Swift to have a Super Bowl where she's singing and the money that they'll bring in for that Super Bowl? They're
Taylor
100% setting them up for ultimate happiness.
But it's
to call
already
in
been
a favor.
announced. It's
Yeah,
already been announced.
Yeah, it's Kendrick Lamar. It's not Taylor Swift.
It's Kendrick Lamar. I'm not talking about this Super Bowl. I'm talking about a
Oh.
future one, like next year or
Oh.
something.
Oh,
That's what I'm
okay.
talking about. Like,
Yeah.
eventually, within the near future, with them being the hot team and winning everything, 3-peating and all this other stuff, they'll ask, like, hey, could you do this concert for us?
But I mean, you
I
also
think
gotta
it'd be
think
good
about
for
it.
you
How
and
much,
your fans.
how many people and how much money did Taylor Swift bring into the NFL by dating Kelsey?
A lot.
It was a huge increase.
A
Absolutely.
huge increase.
Yeah.
And if you imagine the Super Bowl with her performing,
Well,
those
can you
tickets
also
would-
imagine the Chiefs just all of a sudden turn into like the worst, like the Panthers? It's gonna drive all the Swifties away from football and not want to watch.
I don't know
Right.
that it would, though. I have to argue that point. If they are truly Swiftie fans who truly just watch for Taylor Swift sightings, do they really care about the score?
They don't.
Yeah, I'm with Tyler. I'm with Tyler
They
on
don't.
that one.
As long as they're dating, they will stay relevant. They may slope down and suck next year, but people will still watch,
See, and this
which
I
is
think,
more
where
money for the NFL.
the theories fall out. I don't see the logic behind helping them to win. To me, if you want this
it's-
heroic story of a team winning where you're going to really drive people to the NFL and really wanting to see a team like the Lions, a team like the Texans, one of these underdog young teams that everyone in
Lions
America
with
loves,
Eminem.
give the Lions this undefeated season where it's like, wow, look at this team. The Texans, so one of these teams that we all, that everyone kind of silently loves. And
Now, all I say is the NFL has not had a track record to appease the fans. They're always about
Right.
appeasing the other group that has no involvement with football.
are we talking about
Vegas.
politics here, or are we?
Oh
what are we
yeah, like
talking about here?
everything. They're always trying to appease someone else instead of, just letting us play or letting us be
Now,
entertained and
now let
letting
me
things
bring
go the
a
way
new
they're going.
conspiracy theory to light, and then we have to move on. This will be the alarm.
I said stop. Y'all kept going.
the real theory on why the
Ugh.
Chiefs are gonna be rid to win is because they're not trying to make the fans happy or bring in Swifties. They're trying to make Taylor Swift happy, and if Taylor Swift is happy and the Chiefs are winning, it will be easier to sweet talk Taylor Swift into performing at a Super Bowl.
Yes.
I mean, maybe, but I'm also going to look at it this way: that at the end of the day, you have to remember that right now the Chiefs, the reason that they're doing good is they've essentially cracked the code, a code that we know works very, very well when it comes to being dominant in the NFL. You have a top-notch coach, Andy Reid, Bill Belichick. You have a top-notch quarterback, Patrick Mahomes, Tom Brady, and you have a top-notch tight end, Travis Kelce, Rob Gronkowski. I'm just throwing it up there that we've
top
seen this before.
Defense.
and then have a top end defense
Yes, exactly.
like that. Yeah, so they're repeating everything. It's just the way they're doing it. I'm sorry, they shouldn't be where they're at.
It's under
Right,
extra
you're right.
scrutiny because of the Taylor Swift
yeah.
situation.
Or
Yeah,
Taylor
it's-
Swift is like, hey, if the Chiefs start doing bad, I break up with Kelsey and send all the Swifties away.
Oh, and it also just
She's
maybe,
threatening.
maybe another way to look at it too is, how do I put this? In my opinion, sometimes I feel like the behavior of the Chiefs does seem a little diva like,
Oh,
is maybe the
yeah.
good way to put it. Whereas I feel like the reason that sets them apart, and maybe this is what makes me dislike the Chiefs more than the Patriots, is with the Patriots, they very much had an attitude of everybody else, we don't care about you. You guys are all the worst. We only care about ourselves. We don't care. You know what I mean? Just very much we know we're hated. Who cares? Sort of thing. Whereas
We're
the
gonna
Chiefs,
beat you next week.
whereas the Chiefs have this
Football.
diva behavior of, please like us, even though, we're so dominant and
Yeah.
kind of annoying. It almost seems like it's that mentality to an aspect. And I don't want to say that there's necessarily, a ploy behind this or sympathy or something like that. But I do find it interesting that they're trying to come out with this whole story now about how both Travis Kelce and Patrick Mahomes, their houses were burglarized last month, and oh man, that's so tough for them and stuff like that in the middle of the season and blah blah blah. We should feel sympathy for them. Do you get where I'm coming with this? That's maybe where my gripe is as far as that situation, as far as why they're still undefeated. But at the end of the day, it's just frustrating because they were so close to finally taking an L, and then something weird like this happens.
Yeah.
But to
So-
be fair, the Chiefs were kind of a nobody team like 5 to 10 years ago.
Yeah. But that's okay.
Yep.
Moving on to
Moving
Shane,
on.
right?
Let another team have the spotlight for 20 to 30 years.
Oh, please no.
I'll stop
It ain't the
watching.
New York Yankees in the 50s. Please
Yeah.
don't.
I'll stop watching football.
No, you won't.
Oh yeah, I would. There's only so much glazing of Patrick Mahomes I can take.
Just get
I,
Chris
it's-
Collinsworth
yeah.
to retire. You'll be fine.
Yeah.
Now here's a
Oh.
guy.
Hopefully he gets laryngitis and
Jeez.
Tyler, let's talk about Monday Night Football. Let's hear what you
I
gotta
would
say.
love to.
Yeah,
I would
I was
love
like,
to
moving on.
discuss Our Dolphins and Rams. I
This
gotta
didn't
be
go-
honest.
this
We
didn't go the
might
way
be
we
in a
thought.
renaissance for the
Yeah.
Dolphins.
right.
They
Uh-oh.
That was
Okay, he's still there.
their defense showed up. It wasn't a pretty game for either team, but the
That was
Dolphins
cool.
defense showed up. And I mean, Matthew Stafford and the Rams outran them, but still managed to lose.
Yeah.
Yep.
Which,
Yeah.
sorry, go ahead.
I'll say Miami was super efficient, and the Rams
Yes.
just kept shooting themselves in the foot. Bad
So-
tackles, missed tackles, like
Right.
everything you could do, and then, Tua almost had another concussion moment.
Oh my gosh, that was
Bro
insane.
needs to just stop.
Oh,
Just walk off the field. But
I
no,
wonder if this is a Goff
yeah.
Stafford curse. Goff has
Right.
one of his worst games ever, barely pulls out a win despite all things considered. And then here we have Stafford, who does pretty much the same thing, just can't pull out the win in the end and ends up losing.
Right.
Is this, if we're talking conspiracy theories here, what about this?
Yeah. Well,
But
if you look at the time of possession, it's like almost dead center down the even or down the
Right.
middle. And so, like I said, I just think Miami's way more efficient in this game. They made better use of the ball when they were playing.
so then
So-
is this a victory of coaching? Is my question.
I think it's a victory of his system. He has his quarterback that makes his system work, and he's not hurt. He's not brain dead. So
For today.
they're back, yeah, for today.
God.
But they're back to playing better. And I think it's a good sign for them. I think it's a good turning point, hopefully, in the season. Hopefully they can kind of keep winning, but TBD.
That's all I've got. I think it was a fun game to watch. I think it was enjoyable to see both of these teams, have some good moments, a lot of pretty unfortunate moments. I was pretty bummed. I'd love to see the Rams make a good push and maybe be a team worthwhile despite the injury-ridden season they've had. But they just seem to be as unlucky as can be. And despite how fun the game was, it'll be fun to see how they play in upcoming weeks.
Yeah, they were off to a really good start, and then this obviously just didn't help. That loss on Monday.
Yeah.
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 I thought they were going
Agreed.
to really make a comeback here once they started getting people healthy again. I said, "Oh look, they're going to sneak into the wild card," and now I'm getting less and less hopeful about that.
Right.
Right.
Kind of got to win out from here.
Yeah, oh yeah. All right.
Yeah, that's all I've got.
Shane, you ready, or you want me to go?
You go ahead.
All right. Look, there. So I got obviously probably one of the more very much like it was supposed to be a very exciting matchup, and it kind of turned into a what the heck game was that? And that Lions and the Texans. Look here, I'm a little worried about the Texans' regression here. Something seems like it's not working there. It's falling apart a little bit here. Obviously, they lead their division. That it's comfortable enough they should most likely make the playoffs. But it doesn't feel right. But I think probably the more interesting. Yeah, it's more just the more interesting story here that I think we need to talk about. Because look, I get why the Texans don't necessarily look like they're all that right now. It doesn't help when, C.J. Stroud, he doesn't have Stephon Diggs, the torn ACL. Nico Collins was supposed to come back for that game, and then he ended up not doing so. And Tank Dell has kind of fallen off the edge of the earth too. So there's not much to be said, I feel like, beyond that. We'll see what happens if they actually do have their full set of receivers. The more interesting storyline from that game is that the Lions managed to pull off this win. One, because of Jake Bates as their kicker, just absolutely being in the clutch.
100%.
But two, Jared Goff threw 5 interceptions.
He's
after
7-0 when throwing 5 interceptions in a game.
Which is a
after
crazy stat.
weeks of being so consistent and practically having perfect games. 5 interceptions. Now, I've looked back on some of those. Some of those, it was very much like, oh my gosh, Jared Goff, what are you doing? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But there are other ones that it was like, okay, that was just unlucky. That was tipped. That sort of thing. I just find it very admirable of the Lions here that they are still showing that they can do it all. And while this was a scary, scary win and it almost didn't work out for them, it reminds me of BYU and Utah this past weekend. Yep, throwing that in there.
There it is.
It was very much. It was. Oh, and it's a cat. It's a blue cat that won too. How about that? But it's one of those things of where I look at it and I say to myself, the Lions still know how to do it all levels. They know how to be dominant and absolutely trash their player, but when they are behind, they know how to make a comeback.
Yeah. Now, I think what shows here a little bit, I kind of want to make sure I was going to talk right on this, but so far this year, the Lions have always led early. And they coasted, not really coasted, but they just kept going and then they'd win. This game, they got behind.
Yeah.
And I feel like Goff probably was a little worried of losing, so he started making those riskier throws. So I think it was more this game was like a mental thing for Goff, where he was like, okay, I gotta throw it. But it's like, no, you don't. Like, you don't have to make that throw. And then it gets picked. So
Right.
I think if anything, I'm pretty sure it's already been talked about with their team and everybody, but I think it was more of like, hey, Goff, like, relax. Like when we get in that situation again, calm down, throw better, go back to what you've been like all season. So as long as he doesn't keep throwing them the rest of the season, I feel like this is just kind of like a good reset for him as a quarterback to like control his emotions a little bit and not worry about the game. Just because their defense is so good, their special teams are reliable from this game. It's like, just don't turn it over 5 times every game and we'll be fine.
Right.
Or,
right. And I don't think
Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say it's not gonna happen every game. You know what I mean? Where he's gonna throw like that. But I would agree with Matt. It's sort of a thing. It's like, hey, let's remember here that you have David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs. You don't need to throw the ball every time.
Right.
But I still believe that the Lions are probably, I would still say, the top team, even though the Chiefs are undefeated. We can go back. We don't need to go back into that conversation. Yeah. I would still say that the Lions are the team to beat right now, because I wonder what would happen if those two teams did go head to head. I don't know. We'd have to see. It'd be a lot of offense versus defense, that's for sure.
Right.
Yeah.
The Super Bowl script elite is the Chiefs and the Lions, with the Chiefs winning.
Yes, I did see that.
Yeah.
Which some people were saying that's what it's supposed to have been last year. I mean, come on, the Lions were killing the Niners, and then yeah.
But yeah, I think it was a good game. It kind of really does show kind of where the teams are at.
Right.
Texans, they just, it has that regression of Stroud. I think he's still young. Last year, he just had all of his weapons and dependable weapons, and that's why he played so well. And now that he has people hurt, it just shows like, yeah, he can still play, but he really does need help. So.
The sophomore slump is real.
Yep, that's true.
All right, I'm gonna go over
Yeah.
2 games really quick because I changed my mind for one because I still technically stole Matt's, but I feel like we need to talk about both of these in some way, shape, or form. First one, I got Steelers versus Commanders. I don't have much to say on that other than it was a really, really close game, but the Steelers won in the end, which I thought was kind of surprising because I think it was one of Jaden Daniels' worst games this year so far.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
But I mean, it made sense because the Steelers somehow just find ways to win and make it to the playoffs. Even when you look at the team, you're questioning how they are a top 10 team when there's kind of nobody there.
Right.
And maybe that's more just the benefit of there's necessarily no superstar there. It's more a team.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, there is a superstar there. You cannot call TJ Watt anything but.
Right.
But you don't normally win the games without an offensive superstar.
Right.
Right.
But again, maybe that comes more down to team because yeah, you're absolutely right. Yeah, there's no one who stands out there that's super amazing, but they still have ways to get it done on an efficiency level working together as a team.
And give credit to Coach Tomlin.
Oh yeah, I think he's the linchpin there. You take him out of
yeah.
it and it's over.
Yeah, he's always done well. He just
He can
doesn't have
take
players that can
take
finish.
the worst team and go 10-0.
Yeah.
Oh man. Anyways,
But no, good
the
game.
the,
Yeah,
the
good
next game I want to talk about is that we finally had a really, really good Thursday night football game between the Bengals and the Ravens, which Joe,
True.
rest in peace anyone that went up against Jamar Chase, Joe Burrow. Just
Hey,
Hey,
in
hey.
2 leagues.
hey, did you only have to do one, or did you have to do all 3 of the Bengals' top scorers?
I had to play Joe Burrow in one of them and Jamar Chase, and then another one I had Lamar Jackson and Jamar Chase. So
Hold on.
that's still pretty bad.
I think one of those was me, McKay.
Yeah, one of them was you. The other one was Matt.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I had one person in one of my leagues last week that they went up against. Hold on, let me pull it up.
Oh boy,
They went up
this is gonna
against
hurt.
Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, and Chase Brown, the running back.
The game was over, or their week as far as chances of winning was over after Thursday night.
After
football. That
Thursday
happened a
night
lot.
football, the score I think was like 111 to -1.
Oh
That
my
happened
goodness.
a
That's a
lot
big hole.
for a lot of
Mhm.
fantasy owners this week. And the closest thing that I've seen to that since then, or since before then, was a couple of weeks ago when the Seahawks and the 49ers played each other on Thursday night football. That wasn't necessarily like as big of a game, but the thing is after just that one game, I know my wife, she had 3 49ers players and Kenneth Walker on her team, and she already had about 125 points.
Yeah, it was brutal.
Yeah.
But the Bengals still lost.
That's the crazy thing here is that they are still getting these losses
And
despite you look back. I think it was the most interesting statistic here that we need to mention here is it's so wild to us that Joe Burrow absolutely balls out and Jamar Chase absolutely balls out and they still lose, whereas Jared Goff throws 5 interceptions and still wins.
But he's
Right.
But Jared Goff is 7-0 when throwing 5 or more interceptions.
Yeah, that's the NFL, man. It's,
How
love
are you
it.
7-0 when you throw 5 or more interceptions in a game? Give credit to defenses.
Really
Yeah.
though.
Right.
All right, well, I think that's all the games from last week. Let's go into this week's matchups.
all right. Matt, kick us off here. Hopefully we're not here for too long. It's another Chiefs matchup.
All right, let me pull
Pull
up
up
my
the timer.
notes.
I got the
Just
timer
kidding.
once
I'm
again.
just kidding. Obviously the game I picked, very obvious, is Chiefs and Bills. I think this is going to be a really good game. Not only because of the matchup, that the history that these two teams have, but
Right.
I think this will be the game that the Chiefs will lose.
Okay, yeah.
The Bills have been playing pretty darn good. It seems like they finally got some momentum. I think just purely because their offense is actually playing well and their defense is just kind of being consistent. I think the Chiefs are going to have a really hard time in Buffalo.
I can see
So
that.
This
I
is the
don't
game
think
that
it's
has
going
me
to be
the most
pretty.
stressed.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be pretty. I think if Mahomes and his offense can't get it together, like I could see him hit in double digits for sure this game with interceptions on the season.
Dang.
So, because he's sitting at 9 right now.
Right.
So yeah. And then just for injury stuff, obviously, they got both their tight ends, backup tight ends out, so they don't just have Kelsey and that's it. Juju Smith-Schuster's questionable, so we'll see how that goes. And the only person that's out receiver-wise is Coleman, which kind of sucks for the Bills, but I feel like Amari Cooper will kind of step up, and Kincaid's going to have to step up, but we'll see if he can actually play because he kind of banged up his knee a little bit. But they still have Shakir, he's healthy, so I think they got this win.
Would certainly hope so.
So
This is the pick for the week that I was most stressed about because I picked Bills. I want the Bills to win. But I am very, like, of all the picks I made this week, I was like, yeah, I feel pretty confident about this pick. This was not one. I am just terrified the Bills will find a way to lose this. And
Yeah.
I'm half tempted to put the Chiefs just because of that feeling. Because, I don't want the Chiefs to win, but I just feel like somehow they'll find a way. And that's what stresses me out the most. I'm like, crap. I don't know that I can stick to that pick with confidence.
I am picking the Chiefs, but to give you some more confidence, I'll put it to you like this. I looked up the Chiefs versus Bills record of all time and narrowed it down to specifically the last 5 years. The most interesting stat that I have seen just looking at everything, going through, the Chiefs have the Bills numbers in the playoffs. They have not lost to the Bills in the playoffs in the past 5 years. However, when they face off in the regular season, the Bills flip the script and are undefeated the past 5 years against the Chiefs in the regular season. Except for one game back in
Right.
2020, but I'm not really counting that one.
So what you're saying is the Chiefs are going to win here and lose against them in the playoffs.
No. You wish.
So you're telling me there's a chance.
My thing is, here's where I'm going to go with this. I'm going to say the Chiefs. I think if the Chiefs beat the Bills this week, I think it is very, very plausible that the Chiefs have an undefeated season and three-peat.
Yeah, yep.
I'm McKay. I'm reviving our Cowboy dark magic, except I'm going to use it on the Chiefs. I'm going to pit the Chiefs and hope that causes them to lose.
That works for me.
I will be the sacrifice that everyone needs.
Oh my goodness,
Everyone's tired of the Chiefs.
we really though we are. But so I mean, I understand your rationale behind that, and I really want to use the dark magic idea behind it. That's not my reason behind it. I still feel like at the end of the day, when it comes down to this, with the pressure mounting it on both sides, especially with the Bills and the desire that they have to win, taking out their anger on the Chiefs, I feel like just that Chiefs defense is going to give trouble to Josh Allen. So I'm gonna take the Chiefs on this one too, but with maybe the hope of, hey, maybe I'm cursing them here and that they do take the L. And with that, yeah, I'd say for my matchup monster, I'd definitely go with like just any player on the Chiefs defense really making a nightmare for Josh Allen.
Yeah, I think I gotta agree with that.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Do I want it to happen? No, absolutely not.
Yeah, I just don't think it's there for them. Sorry, they haven't been playing that good, and Yeah.
Right.
We'll see.
Okay.
The
Fun
funny
game.
thing is I Andy Reid has been a longtime hero of mine, so I still like the Chiefs. I would not mind seeing Andy Reid and the Chiefs get another Super Bowl win. I don't hate them. I think I'd rather see several other teams get it over the Chiefs, but they're not like anyone but the Chiefs for me. If I can defend myself a little bit there by saying that.
Mhm.
But that said, I would still love to see the Bills take this. And I'm also happy to start into my pick, the Browns versus Saints.
Let's hear it.
Yeah.
This is an interesting game. Yeah. Go ahead and explain it. I feel like this could just honestly go either way.
To me, this is the battle for the 6th pick next year.
Yeah.
I think this is going to be fun. I don't think this is going to be some high capacity game, but I think both teams are in a spot that they could both easily win this game, and I'm excited to see who comes out on top. I think this is going to be a good game. I think we're looking at a lot of blowouts next week, as far as talent, and obviously, as we've discussed before at the NFL, anything can happen. But I see this one as a pretty good fist fight, and I'm excited to watch it. My guess is it's primarily going to be a lot of defense, a lot of running with some occasional good passing. But I got to be honest, this is one of the ones that I really want to pick to. If you can only watch a couple of games, I think this is going to be a good one.
Yeah, I think it'd definitely be interesting.
Yeah.
I think for this game, really who I want to pick is I'm going to go switch it up here and go with my matchup monster before I go with my pick. I really want to say the matchup monster is Nick Chubb, where we kind of see this little renaissance from him, where he does play at a really high level. But I think really who this is going to come down to is actually whether we're going to see one version of Jameis Winston or the other.
The
You get what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
WWL.
Yeah, are we going to see him eating the W, that Jameis Winston, or just the typical Jameis Winston that we've seen over the past few years?
The pre-LASIK surgery Jameis Winston.
Yeah, and honestly, I'll be honest with you, my feeling on this is we will probably get the not so good Jameis Winston, and that the Saints will win this game.
Agreed. I think this game can easily go either way, but I do have the Saints winning. I'd love to see the Browns win, especially to see a division rival go down. But in some ways, I'd also like to see the Saints win this game, just to prove that the Falcons lost to them last week wasn't just a fluke, and they're maybe picking up a little bit. So I'm a little
Right.
conflicted here.
He's down
I think that
Atlanta. Let's go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's my 2 cents.
I'm gonna pick the Browns. I think we're gonna see the Chubb renaissance, and it's gonna be a battle of running backs and defenses, which is what I love when watching football.
Yeah.
It's an interesting thing to love. It's one of the less exciting forms of football.
What? I love watching running backs.
I like watching good runs, but when it's a defense and run battle, it's not a lot of good runs. It's a lot of
It's those nasty 4
uh,
or 5 yard runs right up the middle.
yep.
But see,
And-
and that just builds the anticipation. You're like, okay, I know the running back is just gonna lay out one defender and just go for 80 yards.
Are you talking about
Yep.
like the Patriots Rams Super Bowl? Because that's pretty much what that was, right?
Yep.
Did the Patriots
One
have
of
a
the-
good top 5 running back at that time?
No. Well, yeah, kind
Tony
of.
Michelle wasn't that good. Come
Yeah,
on now.
he was okay. But
I was like,
that-
this is
That's what that
Nick
game
Chubb,
was,
who
though. It was
people
defense
love
and run.
Nick Chubb, and then Alvin Kamara, who has been a top 5 running back multiple times.
And he had a slump last week. He didn't play that.
He's had a
good.
slump a couple of times this year.
Yeah.
He does, but we're getting close to Christmas, and we all know how his Christmas game went.
Yeah.
Yeah, his Christmas game, not his early November or mid-November game.
It's an
Right.
early Thanksgiving present.
Hold on there. Hold on.
Yeah. I'm going with this game. I'm going with the Saints, and y'all got to remember, there's back. So I think it's going to be the Kamara show.
The
think you see
Car
him-
Mara show.
Oh,
Kamara
Ooh.
show. That's funny. I like that. But I think the Saints got this in the bag.
Yeah. Oh. Okay.
So
I'm going to take next here, kind of speed up through this here. I got the Commanders and the Eagles. We got a division rivalry game here. Here I have some concerns about the Commanders here, especially after how Jaden Daniels performed last week. And I feel like we're starting to kind of see it's the opposite of what happened last year. The Eagles definitely peaked too early last year. And whereas this year, it's kind of like, okay, maybe we're starting to get into it. You know what I mean? We're starting to kind of see that they really start to take off. And I feel like they've also now shown that they can play at a level where they're not entirely dependent upon Saquon Barkley, because he actually didn't really have that great of a game this past week. But Jalen Hurts sure did. So I feel like in this setting, the Commanders, are they still going to play well? Yes, but I think we might start to see them go and deaccelerate a little bit. They're kind of starting to have a little trouble here, starting to kind of get into that little bit of a funk that some teams do midseason, whereas the Eagles are picking up. So I got the Eagles in this game. And matchup monster, I would still say it's Saquon Barkley, though.
I agree with everything that you just said, and I also agree it's going to be the Eagles with Saquon Barkley.
I would like to hear Matt's explanation, at least on our draft board, what he's initially said.
Oh, he's changing
I was
it.
waiting. I was waiting.
With
to see if
Donovan
anyone saw
McNabb as matchup monster, I was like, on.
it.
Can I be controversial and just say that I think Washington will win?
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
I don't
you
think it's
can-
controversial.
That's fine.
Division rivals can go any way.
This isn't a dictatorship, so it's okay.
This has
Thank
also
you.
become the theme, I feel like, of this of these matchups here, where we kind of say, oh, we'd love for the Bills to win, but some of us feel the Chiefs are going to win. We'd love for the Browns to win, but a lot of us feel the Saints are going to win. We'd love for the Commanders to win, but a lot of us feel it's going to be the Eagles.
Yeah. Well, the unfortunate part about this game is that the Commanders have already had a huge win in Washington, so they can't keep winning.
I feel that.
Oh, ha! I get it now. Got it.
Yeah, I was like, let it sink in. It's okay.
I was thinking about something else. I thought it had something to do with like the Hail Mary against the Bears, and I was like, oh wait, nope, yeah.
Nope.
A different
The
type
other
of win.
thing,
A different
different type
race.
of win.
The other, yep, got it.
Yep.
Yep.
I know where this is
But-
going.
Gosh.
No, I think-
okay.
I just think the Eagles have too much rolling right now, so I think it's gonna be that fun little dual threat of Hurts and Barkley. Barkley
I
keep the
think-
ball moving, keep the defense on the field, tire them down, and then just knock them out.
I think after a pretty big division win last week, I think they're going to come into this game overconfident. I think they're going to say, wow, look at us. We are the best. We are NFL bound. I think I've already started to see their fans say that. I think they're going to come into this game against the Commanders and they're going to choke.
Well, it was
I
the
think they're a
Cowboys.
fantastic team, but we've seen that we saw them choke at the beginning of the year. And I think we're going to see that again. I think they got back to where they were at the start of the year, where everyone was like, "Wow, look at the Eagles! They've got Saquon. They're Super Bowl bound." Now we're back to that. Okay, we got a couple wins. We blew out the Cowboys, and I think this is when they choke. I think Washington's a better team than some would give them credit for. I don't think they're a great team. I think the Eagles have the better team. But I think in this division game, the Washington Commanders are going to find a way to win.
Which would hold up with the whole idea, I guess you'd say, of like the NFC East often beating up on each other. Find
Yes.
that clear-cut top team.
Yeah. Oh, agreed. Agreed. And no one likes to spoil a good a good run of wins than a division rival, which
True.
obviously we saw how Utah played against BYU. We saw how much they came out in that second quarter. And I think Washington might find a way to come out all 4 quarters and do the
But
same thing.
so you're saying the Eagles are a lame duck?
It's interesting that you would say that and that you would make that comparison right after I had brought up a very different matchup. But I'm going to say no. The
Did we get
Eagles are
hot
not a
here?
lame duck. The Eagles are a very powerful team that I think are just in a choke right here, sadly.
It getting hot in here. Was there some salt behind that?
Oh no. Quick side note: I knew 100% Utah wasn't gonna win that game. 100%.
You just wanted it to happen, though, obviously.
Like, yeah, obviously I want
Yeah,
it
of
to
course.
happen just to watch, BYU fans cry and say, "Oh, season's over." But I was like, yeah, it's not gonna happen. Their defense can't score points as much as they try. So
Yeah.
Or apparently stop 2-minute drives.
yeah,
Or stop a punt return touchdown.
nice
that goes
when
away.
the refs in your pocket too. Oh,
Oh,
15
boy.
million for the Pac-12. Yeah, let's throw that flag. Let's keep them in the game.
Here we go.
All
We knew it was
right.
coming. We knew it was coming.
Who's up? Ravens Steelers.
Yeah, Ravens Steelers, and this matchup I think is gonna be a good one because they're both very fighting for their division. They're division rivals, and they both had very close games against two familiar opponents in the Bengals and the Commanders. So this game I feel like is gonna be a good, fun one to watch because division rivals are always fun to watch. They're both really good teams, and going off their common opponents from this season so far, they have very similar scores when going up against those teams.
Right. One of the interesting things about this, though, is, on paper, as far as you want to talk about who's the better team and stuff like that, most of us, our gut reaction would be the Ravens. But Lamar has had problems against the Steelers in the past.
Yeah, I think this game will be a definite challenge for the Ravens. And it's hard for me to say who's going to win just because you got TJ Watt that sniffs out everything.
Every
Yeah.
little hole.
And will he be able, because if he can stop Lamar from running and Derrick Henry,
Oof.
do
Which
they
is not
have enough
impossible.
confidence? And do they have enough in their receivers to get open before TJ Watt arrives and chases down Lamar Jackson? So that's
I
kind of
think-
like, I'm saying the Ravens, but
Right.
my matchup monster will be TJ Watt.
I'm going to say the Ravens, too. But I'm going to say the matchup monster for this is Ronnie Stanley. If he can effectively protect Lamar from TJ Watt in enough time, at least for Lamar to make a move here, oh boy. We'll give it to an O-line there.
Yeah. Fair enough. Respect.
I think, despite TJ Watt, who is one of the most fantastic defensive players of all time, I want to point out, I don't think he can be everywhere at once. And I think Baltimore has far too many weapons for it to matter if they've got. And TJ Watt isn't the only solid weapon that the Steelers have. But I think he's the only weapon that's going to matter against such a high-powered offense. I think he's going to look real good, but I think Baltimore comes out with the W.
Yeah,
I agreed.
way of putting it. Oh boy. Hey, does that cover it for
Yeah,
For us
that's what
here?
it does.
yeah. Awesome.
Like, get into the fun stuff, right?
Yeah, let's go here with just the time that we have to go into our QB tiers talk, where we're going to literally put the quarterbacks and the starting quarterbacks. And when I say this, this means every quarterback who has started a game. When I say that,
Oh,
that doesn't mean a
boy.
backup who's come in partway through, but every quarterback who has started a game this season. Now you look at that and you might go, "Oh boy, that's a lot of QBs." No, it's not, especially when compared to last year. Let me tell you about how many QBs we had starting games last year. It was bad.
It's
Like
still so
38.
many.
Yep.
With the
Here
Joe
we are just ranking the
Flacco,
ones.
with the gosh, there's so many.
We're just gonna go over the ones as far as who have started.
Joe
For
Flacco has
this season.
started.
I know, yeah. So we'll bring him up. But I'm more just saying those are the ones we have to worry about here. We're going to be ranking them from S tier, A tier, B tier, C tier, our D tier, which we're basically going to call the eternal backup tier, and then our F tier, which is get out of the NFL tier. We're going to have to try and come to an agreement on it because we're going to have different opinions on this with some of these players. But I do believe we can kind of hopefully come to some sort of consensus here as we talk about each of these players. So, with that, if we want to get into specifics here, help me out, guys, if I missed anyone here who we do need to put into this ranking here. But if we're going by with each division here, if we're starting off with the AFC East, you would have Aaron Rodgers, Josh Allen, Jacoby Brissett, Drake May, Tua Tagovailoa, Skylar Thompson, and Tyler Huntley. I think that just for that division. Let's kick off that division. I don't think I've missed anyone else. I don't think there was another Dolphins QB who started outside of those three. So let's start off with that division before we move into the other divisions. So kicking it off here, let's talk about Aaron Rodgers. Where would we put?
Get out. Just stop. Just retire. Just
Dang.
leave. Just leave. Like, bro, just hang it up. You're not gonna be Tom. You're not gonna win a Super Bowl and then retire. You're done. Just stop.
But as far as performance alone, does that really put him in such a horrible tier like that?
Yes. Get out of the NFL
C
tier.
I would say C
I think
tier.
C tier.
No, I'm 100% get out of the NFL,
I mean,
dude.
I agree. He should retire.
He's old. He's not playing well, and he's kind of nuking that team. I feel like he is a problem, and he needs to get out.
But I still feel like, given the right circumstance, because part of that is Aaron Rodgers, but part of it is it's the freaking New York Jets.
Yes.
And so I'm gonna agree with Shane and Tyler here. I'm thinking more C tier. So again, we're gonna try and agree unanimously here, but we might have to incorporate democracy at this point.
What kind of crap? I'm just kidding.
He's not a
We're using the
backup.
popular vote, Matt. We're using the popular vote.
Gosh. Majority
Fine, I'll
rule.
regress. I'll regress and say he's a bad.
I will say he should retire after this year, though.
Oh yeah, except he just did a whole thing talking about how he's probably gonna come back next
Yeah,
year.
don't remind me.
He needs another shot.
With his
Yeah.
coach.
To expedite things, because we have a lot of backup quarterbacks and we have a lot of quarterbacks to go through. For all the people that came in that are not the main starter for the AFC East, can we all agree just to throw them into the eternal backup tier?
Yes, I agree. So we'll throw Tyler Huntley and Skylar Thompson in there. Why do I feel like I'm missing one other one that we talked about? No, what about Jacoby Brissett? Let's move into that one next, because Jacoby, you could make some arguments, I feel
I
like.
would still say backup.
What about Ritter? Are you counting Ritter?
Has he started a game?
I believe he has.
I say still.
I can
throw
double
them all in
check
the
on that.
backup.
Just put him
Yeah.
in backup. Yeah, just put him in backup.
I'm like they're good enough to stay in the NFL, but they're not good enough to lead a team anywhere.
Yeah, I would definitely. Okay, I would. Matt, let's have your opinion on this, because I think Shane's still saying he goes into the backup. But as a Patriots fan, how do you feel about Brissett?
Honestly, I don't think he's a backup. Based on his performance. Now, if he stays with the Patriots, he will be a backup. But I would put him in that. Honestly, I'd put him in like the C tier.
I think I'd put him in the C tier too. Tyler, can you be our tiebreaker here?
My leaning is towards backup.
Oh, now we're split.
Well, that's
You
what
know
I'm saying
what?
though. Like
You know
if
what?
he
I will
stays with
say-
the Patriots,
I
let's
will
say that, then he's
C
backup.
tier. I will say C tier, but he's gonna be a transition quarterback, like a lot of the teams that didn't get the quarterback in the draft that they wanted. They get a journeyman to come in for a year just to hold down the fort.
Correct.
But remember
And
that
he
this
can
is
do
just based off of.
enough.
Yep, but remember that this is based off just this year, and honestly,
Yeah.
given the rest of the roster, the rest of the roster, just for the Patriots, he's done okay. I'd put him in C tier.
Right. Yeah, Drake May's 100% in the driver's seat now.
See, but I feel like him and all the other backups have done okay.
Yeah. Oh, but could those backups leave and go be a starter somewhere else?
I don't
And I would say,
fully believe that
and I would-
Brissett could do it.
Because
I don't know that
done it.
Brissett should be a starter.
the difference is though, here if this helps make it feel any better, Brissett has gotten wins for his team.
Yes.
Brissett's
That's the
highs
Has
are
his team
high,
gotten
but his
wins, or has he
lows
gotten
are
wins?
low.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is at least that the win has happened there. Whereas if you look over on the other side with Tyler Huntley and Skylar Thompson, who
Yeah.
did have a weapon like Tyreek Hill, they couldn't get a single win.
All
I
right,
Yeah.
will. Okay, I will give you that. I will
All
give
right.
you that.
let's move on to some other fun quarterbacks.
Okay, well let's talk about Drake May. Let's throw it out here really quickly. What are we thinking with Drake May? I think he could be solid B tier, at least just how he's looking so far this season.
This year, I think he's a solid B. Like, you can see him starting to get more confident and become more of that leader. So I wouldn't put him in the A tier yet,
I wouldn't
unless
put him
all
in
of
the
a
A
sudden
tier at
he
all.
goes, unless he goes off the rest of the season and turns into a freaking maniac. But B tier is good.
I
Okay,
would
so
say-
B tier for me, B
I
tier
would
for
say
Matt, Shane.
I would say C tier, but he is literally like touching the line of B tier. So if I were to rank him, I'd probably say B tier, but it's extremely low.
Yeah. Tyler?
I'd probably put him at the bottom of the B. And part of that is because of how young he is. And so
Yeah.
I'm giving him a little bit of benefit of growth.
Right.
But
He hasn't shown enough to, I think, fully warrant a solid B.
For sure, but he
Well,
does make it in there.
Yeah.
Yes,
The
he
other thing
does.
for me, the reason he's not in A tier is because he doesn't have weapons to shine.
Okay,
And college
moving
and
through
80
here real
is a
quick.
B minus. That's where he's sitting. He's sitting right
Yeah,
at an
no.
80.
That's what I'm saying. B's fine with me. I'm okay with
Yeah.
that.
That just leaves Josh Allen.
I would say
A tier.
S tier. I would say S.
I'm gonna say S for this season. He's done great getting those into.
Isn't he?
Eh.
Has he thrown a
His-
pick at all this season yet?
That's what I was gonna
Yes,
say. His interception ratio
He
is
has
so
thrown
small
one.
this year.
He has 4.
Oh, I
Oh,
was
But
like,
he's
it's so
4?
small compared to
He has
usually
4.
he leads the NFL in interceptions.
I know for like
Oh,
the
he
first
does.
8 or
He
9
does.
weeks he had 0 interceptions.
Yep. I would say Josh Allen belongs in S tier for this season.
He is one of the top 3 to 4 guys that you would want to have.
Yeah, he has 4.
I would be
Interceptions.
curious too on Josh, and I apologize. This is somewhat of a side tangent, so I'll be quick. I wonder how many of those interceptions were targeting towards Diggs, because I feel like his gameplay
Diggs
with his
isn't
throwing
there.
has changed since Diggs left, and so I'm curious if that's has some accordance with his lessened interceptions. But anyway,
As
side
far
tangent.
Right,
Yeah.
as far as was he trying to get Diggs the ball and cause problems, whereas here he's just sharing the wealth with all of his receivers. That's a good point.
Exactly. Yep.
All right, we
But-
really need to churn through this because we have so much to do.
It's
And
true.
we're
There's a
like
lot
out
here.
of time.
Okay,
let's go.
so here's who we still got. So let's go into the AFC North now. I'm just gonna take them one at a time. Go ahead and just give me your answers, and we'll try and come up with like as far as who we think where they would fit in. So
Burrow
moving into the
and-
AFC North.
Yeah.
So let's start off. I'll start off one at a time. We'll go through Russell Wilson.
A
B tier.
B.
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 for
Yep,
sure.
I think as far as this, you
Unanimous
bet.
B.
Okay, Justin Fields.
B.
B.
A. No.
outta here.
Put him right there in B too.
Yeah, I got B there.
Maybe even C, but I'm okay with B.
B's fine.
Lamar Jackson.
S.
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 Yeah.
100%.
And the other one
okay.
S.
Joe Burrow.
Yeah, 100%.
I would say
he's an
Joe
S.
Yeah.
Burrow's A.
I
That's
put Joe
just
Burrow
me.
in A.
After
I'm gonna give-
last game,
No,
It-
no. That's what I'm saying. The past 3
Yeah.
games, yeah, S tier, but that
Yeah.
first
Leading
half
up
of
to
that
that.
season was
Okay.
real bad.
that's fair. That's fair.
Okay, all right, and then we can put this guy in the eternal backup tier. It's Dorian Thompson Robinson. He did start one game. That's
Just
one of the Browns players.
DTR.
I know,
put
but it's just
DTR.
more of a who?
Yeah. Ooh,
Are those
okay,
3 separate players or is that one player?
Jameis Winston.
Get out of the NFL.
E
tier.
I would say C tier.
S.
He had one great
Mm.
game and then kind of sucked.
Yeah, C. I
C
can
tier.
get I would take Aaron over Jameis Winston.
Okay, cool. I think Deshaun Watson firmly belongs in
Get out of the NFL.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes. For
Unanimous.
multiple
Just get out. Just stop.
reasons.
For multiple reasons. Yeah, get that.
More
guy
than
out
just
of
his play. It's like, dude, just
Yeah.
stop.
it. Okay, cool. Moving into the AFC West, Patrick Mahomes.
Get out of the NFL.
Hey,
He's
You
in
know
the
what?
A tier.
This season, no.
100%.
This
He's in.
this season,
A
he
or
is
B.
ranking at like number 20 at quarterbacks.
So I was gonna say either B or A to be nice, but I
would
think
say
he
B.
belongs in the B.
I
Because
think
I think he leads in interceptions.
I think the
yeah.
interceptions what kills him. I would put him in the B tier just for as far as where that knocks him down a little
Overall,
bit.
great
I
quarterback
think,
S
but-
tier. This season, ugh.
I don't know. I
no,
think there's
this
more than just
season, he's a B
interceptions
tier.
to a ranking. I sincerely think with game management, with some of the, I don't know. We don't have time to argue this too much, so I will concede to B, but I still think A tier.
I'm trying to pull up just a quick.
While he's looking at that, Justin Herbert.
A.
I'm thinking A tier for
A.
Herbie.
By the way,
Yeah, I think
Patrick
so.
Mahomes has 12 touchdowns and 9 interceptions this year so far.
Yeah, that's a little rough, but still undefeated. But maybe that
His-
comes from other
His
areas.
passer rating's 17th overall, so he belongs
And
in
I
the tier.
think I'd rather have
69.5.
Patrick over Justin Herbert as my quarterback personally.
I think
but-
I'd rather have Herbie.
I think Herbert under the right circumstances,
Mm.
but it's hard. Mahomes.
But that's the problem is under the right circumstances.
Right.
I think I'd
Yeah,
take Patrick
Mahomes-
in just
So
about any
far,
situation.
so far right now, he is playing B tier for sure.
Yeah.
I would say
But
Herbert
we could
is
we
slightly
could make
better.
the argument.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Gosh, now I feel like I have to look stuff up.
Hey, how about Gardner Minshew?
Backup.
S
Yeah.
tier. The
Amen.
He should be in the
char-
backup tier. He'll be
the
a backup next season.
charisma,
So
the chari-
No, he's
No.
eternal backup. Okay, moving through.
Hold on.
Aiden
Justin
O'Connell.
Herbert, 1,000% I would have over Patrick Mahomes this year. 11 touchdowns and 1 interception.
Aiden O'Connell.
Backup.
Backup.
Okay.
Okay, Bo Nix.
I would say A tier, honestly.
I think A tier.
He's
I
can be
comfortable
really
with A.
solid.
He's done well.
Maybe B, but
We'll stick with
yeah,
A
he's
forever.
definitely at the bottom of the A tier for me.
Definitely
Yeah,
at the bottom of
alright.
the A tier.
Moving
Yeah.
into AFC South, CJ Stroud. This one could be controversial.
I'm gonna stick him in the B. His highs are high, his lows are low. He normally just kind of rides the middle right now.
He's not dominant. Yeah, he's B
Yeah.
tier. He's
Yeah,
in that
I'd put him
same
in
That,
B
that,
party.
that team just has so many weapons to not be as successful as he should be.
And the rest of these teams is eternal backup tier.
No! Get out here.
Let's go through all three. Will Levis. I think he could be a get out.
Oh man.
I would
Get
say get
out.
out. Get the mailman out.
Yeah,
Okay. All right. How about Mason Rudolph?
backup.
Anyone counter?
No.
All right. That leaves Trevor Lawrence.
A tier!
B tier.
I say A tier
Yeah.
for this reason. The losses come from the worst defense
We
in
don't
the
need the
league.
bias. We don't need the bias.
This isn't bias. His
It
team,
is.
he
though.
leads the league, or his receivers lead the league in dropped passes. That's
Here.
not on him.
Hey, you're lucky he wasn't in the backup tier. Okay.
Wow.
We wanted to put him there. All right.
Why?
I think I would take just about any other quarterback in the B tier over Trevor.
Wow. I wouldn't.
I think I'd
Here's
take
the
Trevor Lawrence
bust.
over Justin Fields, and Russell Wilson. That's
Oh,
about
I
it.
didn't see Justin there. He fit into one little line.
I
You're
was
right.
thinking
I
put
might.
any other quarterback in the Jaguars system, and I feel like they would do exponentially worse than Lawrence.
Oh yeah, I'd agree with that. But still, B tier.
I'm going
Yep.
based off of quarterback's play, not based off the team's play necessarily. His passes are accurate, but the team just drops.
Hey, how about Anthony Richardson?
I would put him in
C.
C
tier.
tier because of his
C.
attitude.
Yeah.
He's
Same.
turning,
All right,
he's
Okay,
turning
wrapping
more
up the
running back
AFC.
than a passer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wrapping up the AFC, Joe Flacco.
Oh,
Backup. I'm sorry,
Dang.
backup.
Yeah.
He is too old.
I see.
I would put him
feel
at C tier because he will be a backup, but he can
Yep.
also start and get things done. He's not
can
going to
go
do
for
it pretty, but he'll get it done.
Yep. Okay, let's move into
Do we
the.
want to just do the AFC today?
Let's blast through the NFC. Let's
we
do
get to
this. I'm
blast through
ready.
this. Yeah, we'll blast through it.
Exactly.
It'll be quick.
Hey, Jalen Hurts.
S tier.
A.
Yeah, I can.
Dual threat,
I'm
just
gonna
like
go A.
Lamar. And
I'm leaning towards A as well.
Okay,
I'm
He
gonna
can
go
run
A.
really
Let's
well,
do
but
A.
I don't believe in his throwing arm.
Dak Prescott.
C tier.
C tier, 100%, dude.
B.
Almost backup.
Okay, it looks like we're going B tier. Okay, Cooper Rush, backup.
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 Okay, Jaden Daniels.
Oh,
A tier.
A tier. This
I want
year,
to
A
take A
tier.
tier.
He's
I wanna
above
take A
Bo
tier.
Nix. If Bo Nix is an A tier, he's an A tier.
Yeah,
I feel
Yeah.
that.
yeah, he's definitely A tier.
Daniel Jones.
Daniel Jones, get out of the NFL.
I
Oh,
wouldn't
I
go
think
that
backup.
I
far.
will go that far.
Yeah,
You
I'm
really-
gonna say backup.
I'd say backup. He just needs to be a backup.
Yep. Okay. Jordan Love.
C tier.
B
tier.
tier.
I'd put him in B.
He's just been injured.
Yeah.
He's played really solid.
Meh.
Okay,
I don't know
Malik
if
Willis.
I would call it solid, but I would
Malik
still
Willis.
put him in B.
Yikes.
Malik
yeah.
Willis. What do
I,
we want to
I'd
think? Is he
agree.
going to be backup, or should we put him because
say
he has
C.
technically?
He,
He did-
flirts
he
with
did well.
backup and C.
I was like, he did decent with the Packers.
I feel like he didn't do good enough for the first couple years, so I would say C tier.
But we're going off this season, not past years.
I'm just saying, like, he just doesn't have an explosion. So
Oh yeah.
Okay, we're gonna put him in C tier.
yeah, C
Okay.
tier.
Caleb Williams.
Who?
D.
C.
B or C?
I would say C.
I won't comment.
I think he has the potential to easily grow through these ranks, but what we've seen this year, I think he's a C.
He had
Yep, I think
everything
so, too.
put up for him as a layup to come into the best situation, and he's done very little with it.
Yeah, he's had a lot of games where it's just like, come on, dude, you could have done something, and it didn't happen. So
I can't wait
Jared
till
Goff.
he cries to his mom.
Jared
Jared Goff.
Goff, I would say
B tier?
B tier.
B tier, okay.
He's
I'm
good.
leaning towards A.
I like
I
A.
would say A. It's A. He's had a good year this year.
I've seen so many
Sam
bad
Darnold.
games from him.
I would say A.
He's starting to go into the B tier though.
Yeah, but I'd say A for the time being for
Yes.
most of the season.
Right,
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Until he proves innocent until proven guilty.
Yep.
He
exactly.
was proven
Hey.
guilty this last week.
At least in that one, yeah. How about Geno Smith?
Oh,
B.
Say B.
B. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's a solid B.
Brock Purdy.
I would say A tier.
B.
I like
A
B.
tier.
For B
I
tier.
like B.
Yep. Matthew Stafford.
He's leading
Actually, I don't like him
in
at
almost
A
every
tier.
stat right now, but it's fine. I would say A tier, but it's fine.
Are we saying A tier for Stafford?
I would say B
Oh.
tier.
I'm mixed there. That one's a hard one.
Yeah.
I think Goff and Stafford are very weird to judge at the moment.
I feel like he deserves to be in both.
I say if you have Goff in A, you have to have Stafford as
I
well.
would agree with that. I would agree.
Because they're
I
playing.
think
about the
Goff is
same.
better, but I
I
Oh,
agree
yeah,
too, but I still
100%
think they
better,
both
but
belong there.
I don't think they belong in the tier up or tier.
Oh,
Okay,
okay,
how
that's
about
fair.
Kyler Murray?
I say
That's
B.
hard.
He's been 3
I would
Yeah.
say B.
He
yeah, I
has
would
broken
say
his
B.
Call of Duty curse.
Yeah, Kyler Murray goes in B tier. Okay.
Yeah.
We're gonna move Spencer Rattler down into the eternal backup area. Derek Carr.
High five.
C.
B.
I would say he's a solid
B.
B.
He's a C for
B.
Carr.
No, B
Okay.
for badass.
How do we
Just
do?
kidding.
Okay. Kirk Cousins.
B.
Do you say
Yeah,
D?
I'd say B.
Yes, I agree. D. D's in dog. Because he's dog
B is
crap.
in brother.
B as in brother, you like that.
Yeah.
You like that?
Do it, Shane. Do it.
Oh gosh. Hold on, give me like 2 seconds.
Oh my god.
You weren't ready with it? Come on.
God, seriously, man.
Slacking.
I'm trying all
Hey,
sorts of new stuff.
that should just leave us 3. So Baker Mayfield.
S. Oh, I'm
Hey,
sorry.
yeah.
S. It's 100% S tier. What
I
he
gotta
can
go
do
A
with
tier.
no
I would say A
weapons.
tier, but he's towards the top of A.
I don't know,
Joe
man.
Burrow, Justin Herbert, Jalen Hurts. I don't
Like-
think Mayfield is better than them. I think he's on the same level.
He is too.
No. This year, I just think he gets it. So I think he's definitely on the top of A tier.
Mm-hmm.
But very
I think
close
he
to
has the opportunity to make his team look really good because in a way he leads his team really well. But I don't know that makes him an S tier, but I do think that makes him look really good.
Yeah.
Okay, that leads us with Bryce Young and Andy Dalton. What a way to end. Let's start with Bryce Young.
Eternal backup.
Backup.
Too soon to just throw him out.
And
And
up with the
then
Red
Andy
Rocket,
Dalton.
C tier.
Andy Dalton.
Yeah, I
C.
can.
C tier.
I'm tempted to say backup, but I'm okay with C tier.
Yeah. He could start for like the Cowboys.
Anyone could start for the Cowboys at this point.
Oh man.
Oh, jeez.
Hey, that's it.
I feel really good about this list.
I like
I'm,
that.
feel like we've done well.
okay with this list. Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, then with that, that is the conclusion of our For the Fun. We obviously we kind of got on about our usual hour 15 minutes with our conversation here, and that is the end of this episode. Look, there's some. I think we're comfortable at least as far as our tiers for matchups or for quarterbacks. We've got good matchups this week. We've talked about a few already. We're starting to see a lot of either longtime rivalries or division rivalries kicking off this week. It'll be interesting to see where this goes. I think next week we almost need to devote more time instead of talking about the matchups and more about where we think award predictions can go and how we think certain players will do as we go into fantasy playoffs.
All
Right.
right.
I like that.
And one thing I wanted to do, we've touched on it before, but with the whole, obviously after like the official playoffs, so this would be like in January,
Mm-hmm.
doing the fantasy teams for the AFC versus.
Yes, absolutely.
So I think it should be like a coin flip, and then we break off into teams.
I like that.
So it'll be like
Okay.
2 of us against the other 2, and we either get the coin flip for the AFC or the NFC, depending on
Okay.
which team we're on, and then we get together with our partner and figure out the best team possible, and then we'll have people vote, we'll talk about it. I think that'd be fun.
We could take another approach to that too, where we take teams that are in the playoffs and we take players based off of that and we track their stats for how they do in the playoffs, and that determines
Well,
who the winner is.
I'm just interested to see like all time. Like
Oh,
Hall
dang,
of
okay.
Fame, AFC, NFC.
Oh jeez.
I would love to see that matchup. To see what we come up with. I'm
That's a
more
big
interested in
breakdown.
that. But also I'm saying like we can get it solidified now. Cause I already talked to a couple of people that watch the podcast, and they would be
Uh-huh.
interested to see what we came up with. Well,
Yeah,
We-
definitely talk about
like
it.
We
all
can
time,
discuss this
so-
more off air.
Yeah.
I was just say, do we want
Flush
to
this out.
sign off?
Yeah. Yeah, we'll sign off real quick. See ya, bye. I'm just kidding.
But for real, bye everybody.